I've been really looking forward to bringing a new e-ink device to the channel, and I assure you, the wait has been worth it. Because in this box, you have the smallest and at the same time the most powerful color e-ink mini tablet currently available on the market. It has Android and 4G connectivity with the option to insert a SIM card and make voice calls, 8 GB of RAM, and much more, as you're about to see. And pay attention because the price is lower compared to its closest competitors. And that's exactly why I decided to bring this new Bigme V7 to the channel. Because the possibilities of this device are very broad, but without burning a hole in your pocket. You're now seeing the unboxing of this hybrid device, an e-reader for reading and writing, plus an Android tablet. Without a doubt, of all the devices I've tried from Bigme on this channel, this is the highest quality case I've seen from this brand. For the unboxing, you can already see several papers and warranties. Here I have a spare tip, also a ring to remove the tip from the stylus, which also comes integrated, included, completely free of charge, USB-C to USB-A cable, and here is the stylus. It has also been updated compared to the others that Bigme used until now. It includes an eraser and also charges wirelessly when you attach it magnetically to the side of this small Bigme tablet. By the way, I didn't like the texture. It's lacquered and feels a bit plastic. Still, including it for free is really nice. And here you have the Bigme V7 in all its glory, fully updated with much more power built-in camera, several microphones, speaker, and with Android 14, as you're about to see. What I like the most is that the direct competitor, which in this case is the Kindle Color Soft that I already reviewed on this channel, is more expensive. As you can see, €299. Although it costs more, it's much more limited, has less memory, lacks a case and stylus, and doesn't run Android. You'll see the Bigme V7's price later, but that's one of the things I've liked most. And I also like its design more. It's made of glass, it's made of metal, the camera doesn't stick out, it's integrated into the rear glass cover. In fact, this design is very similar to the previous Bigme V7 that I already tested on this channel, and its weight is around 215 grams. Therefore, it's quite a bit lighter than even much smaller smartphones that have been reviewed on this channel. And as for the ports, USB-C, one of the speakers, and a white notification LED. On the other side, there's a microphone and a SIM tray for inserting a SIM card. This is a major change from the previous version, as it now supports 4G, and also a micro SD card of up to 1 TB capacity. This Bigme V7 has 64 GB of internal memory, so that would be 64 plus 1 TB, which is not bad at all. And on the other side, there's another microphone, and I would have liked this power button to have a fingerprint sensor to unlock it. But even so, the travel is good, just like the two buttons for turning the page. Although they allow for some customization, as you'll see next, they also have good travel. And this is how it looks compared to my hand. Honestly, it's quite small, quite light. And personally, I like the design. And something else I appreciate is that Bigme has completely redesigned the stylus. Before, it was too busy. Now it's much simpler, and that's appreciated also. You can see that the edge is flat. Honestly, it makes it easier for it to stay attached magnetically, and it also charges, just like the iPad Pen, the Apple Pencil, but it costs much less, as you're about to see. And now, let's move on to this color e-ink tablet with Kaleido 3 technology. You already know 300 pixels per inch in black and white and 150 in color, and something I like because you don't usually see it often, is that this e-ink tablet has a vibration motor. And honestly, it works pretty well. It's unusual for this type of e-ink device, and I like it. It doesn't have a dark mode, but it does offer color inversion, which works well for some things, especially text. But as you can see, for example, here in the Instagram app, it wouldn't look quite right with the colors inverted. Hopefully in the future, companies will release a true dark mode for e-ink tablets. Not just for reading, which already has it. You already know how these kinds of devices work. Depending on what you're reading, you have to set it up yourself. For example, in comic mode or magazine mode, the colors will look much brighter and more vivid, but the device will be slower. On the other hand, in video mode, or if you customize it and set it to extreme speed, everything will look very smooth. Pretty much like using a regular tablet, that is, without electronic ink like an OLED tablet or an LED tablet. Because you know that as soon as you see dynamic content, that's when you really notice the differences. It's not a device designed for watching videos, although, as you can see, it plays them relatively well. For viewing certain content, for example, on Instagram. But for watching movies, series, and so on, I really don't recommend it at all. Mainly because of that, because of the technology. You already know it, especially if you follow this channel. You know I love this kind of technology. Especially since using these devices, I've had fewer headaches, better sleep, and similar benefits. Because they lack blue light, they don't disrupt circadian rhythms. More studies are confirming this. So it serves me a bit as a detox device when it comes to LED and OLED screens. Although obviously these e-ink devices are much more limited than conventional screen technology. With reflections, you can see I've placed the light source as close and bright as possible. And this is where e-ink really stands out, since it doesn't compete against light, but rather it uses light. The more light it receives, the better it looks. And that's not the case with conventional devices, since reflections are much greater. Hey, and how does this 5-megapixel camera with built-in flash perform? Well, I'm surprised it has HDR, but I would mostly limit it to taking photos for documents because, as you can see, the quality is pretty poor. But well, it's nice that it has a camera. When it comes to taking notes, you can see that the Notes app is quite complete, up to 16 colors. And honestly, the feel is pretty good, more than 4,000 pressure levels. However, it doesn't include shading, for example. And something I didn't really like either is that the screen is completely smooth. It feels like you're writing on a tablet. I wish it had a surface with a bit more texture to better simulate paper. However, I do like how the eraser works. And above all, the extensive customization. It's going to be an absolute delight for those who like writing on slightly smaller tablets. In this case, 7 inches. And on the other hand, the stability in some applications isn't quite right. Sometimes they've closed on me suddenly. I hope Bigme fixes this in future updates. But do you think that for the price there are very few tablets that offer something better? You can see that you can even play games. Well, play, in quotes. I recommend games like Solitaire, etc., which are a bit more static. But there's also a change here compared to the predecessor. It now includes 8 GB of RAM. The CPU is an octa-core at 2.3 GHz. It has Bluetooth 5.0, and it also comes with stock Android 14. And all of this makes it probably the most powerful 7-inch color e-ink tablet that exists today. The whole software interface configuration is exactly the same as the previous version. You can see it in that video. However, the battery lasts a little less. We're looking at a 3,000 milliamp battery. But since it's a bit more powerful, the battery has been slightly affected. Obviously, if you're going to use it for reading, it can easily last you more than a week. But if you're going to use it heavily, especially with dynamic content, it might last you 2 or 3 days. It mainly depends on the content you're viewing. And while playing this game, I'm also going to show you the audio test. How does the built-in speaker on this Bigme B7 sound? But if you buy an e-ink device, it's mainly for its reading and writing capabilities. In this case, Bigme has updated its reading app. Now it has the Pro label. And what I really like is that the fonts now look more natural, more authentic. That was a complaint with previous versions. They've updated it, and I love that. Now it looks more natural. It also includes, of course, dark mode. And you can write in any type of format. That's something I also like, not just ebooks. And now I'm going to compare it with the competitor's tablet. This 7-inch Buxit has the same screen technology. But as you can see, it's more plasticky. The truth is, they're different concepts. However, its plastic design also makes it a bit lighter than the Bigme tablet. The screen technology is the same as the i23. But first, you're seeing the same book on the Bigme. And now on the Bux, I prefer the font of the new reading app on the Bigme B7 now regarding speed. They go at about the same speed. You can see it. Maybe the Bigme is just a little bit faster. And regarding reflections, for example, from light under direct sunlight, That light spot is probably a bit smaller on the Bigme B7, but honestly, it's not really significant. But you know, I love showing you all these details so you can draw your own conclusions. Of course, keep in mind that with this light, any e-ink device is going to look much better than other screens with conventional technology. And now, how does the light work? Well, both have warm light and cool light. This is how it looks completely off. You can see that the nature of this Kaleido 3 technology is somewhat grayish, especially when they're turned off. All right, let's go to a completely dark room so you can see how the lights built into these little e-ink tablets work. So you can see that, for example, the warm light is much warmer on the Bucks than on the Bigme. I think that overall, all the lights at maximum brightness work better on the books. But as I always say with e-ink screens, the most important thing isn't the maximum brightness, but the minimum brightness. How dim can they get? Which one gets dimmer? And in this case, I think the Bigme tablet is slightly better. In this case, the Bigme B7. So if you're one of those people who likes to read at night next to your partner, don't worry because they won't wake up due to the light coming from your device. And let's get to one of the things I like most about this Bigme B7. Its price. How much does this little color e-ink device cost? Well, as you can see, it's $283.99, but there's also an extra coupon for 10 off. You can see it there in red. I'll leave the link below in the video description. Therefore, it's cheaper than the Kindle Color Soft, and it also brings a range of extra possibilities that Kindle wouldn't even dare to dream of. It's a much more versatile tablet, and if you want it for reading, you'll have no trouble reading on it. But it also lets you do certain things, not at the level of a tablet with conventional technology, but rather more static tasks. But above all, it's going to be a relief for your eyes, for your head. And if you like this kind of device, it offers really good value for the money. That's right, the Bigme B7. I hope you like this mini tablet with Android and e-ink technology. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I enjoy reading your messages. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a like so I can keep recording in these amazing places. And here's the thing, I'm going to go from the smallest and most powerful tablet to the largest and most powerful color e-ink tablet in the world. It's practically a PC. You'll see that soon on this channel. All right then, take care and I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.